Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating coins in modern United States history, the 1967 Washington Quarter Dollar. At first glance this coin may look like just another piece of pocket change, but as we explore its history, its varieties, and its current market value, you will see why collectors are always searching through their coins hoping to find a 1967 quarter that is worth a lot of big money. Let's start with a little background. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By the time we get to 1967, the quarter had already gone through some major changes. In 1965 the United States Mint stopped using 90% silver in quarters due to rising silver prices. Instead, they switched to a clad composition made of copper and nickel. So the 1967 quarter is a copper-nickel clad coin, weighing 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Now here's the key historical detail. From 1965 to 1967, the Mint completely removed mint marks from coins. That means you will not find a 1967 quarter with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Every single quarter minted in that 3-year period simply shows the date with no mint mark. This was done to discourage coin hoarding during the transition from silver to clad coinage. So how many were made? The mintage number is enormous. In 1967, the Mint produced over 1.7 billion quarters. That makes the 1967 quarter one of the most common dates in circulation. On the surface, that would seem to mean it has no special value. But the story doesn't end there. Even though most 1967 quarters are worth only face value, there are certain examples that can bring serious money. Condition is the first factor. A regular worn 1967 quarter is worth 25 cents. But an uncirculated example with strong luster, no wear, and sharp details can sell for several dollars. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Certified examples graded mint state 65, 66, or even 67 by grading companies like PCGS and NGC can fetch anywhere from $20 up to several $100 depending on eye appeal and rarity in top condition, but the real treasures are the errors and special strikes. During this time, the Mint also experimented with special mint sets, sometimes called SMS coins. These coins were struck with a little more care and have a sharper appearance than regular circulation strikes. Some 1967 SMS quarters display what collectors call a cameo or deep cameo contrast. Those are coins where the frosted design stands out strongly against a mirrored background. Deep cameo 1967 quarters from the special mint sets can be worth hundreds and even over $1,000 in high grades. In addition to SMS coins, error varieties are where things get very exciting. Collectors have found double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other minting mistakes from 1967. A dramatic double die obverse or a major off-center strike can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and the condition. These coins are highly sought after because they are rare survivors from such a massive mintage. So what about the record prices? Auction results show us just how valuable a perfect example can be. One of the highest graded 1967 quarters in deep cameo from the special mint set sold for more than $4,000. Other pristine examples certified at the top grade levels have reached into the $2,000 to $3,000 range. Now let's talk about the current market. In today's coin collecting world, a normal circulated 1967 quarter is worth only its face value. Uncirculated examples are worth a few dollars. But if you happen to find a coin with an error, or a coin that comes from a special mint set with strong cameo contrast, then you are looking at a piece that could be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on grade. As more collectors enter the hobby, the demand for high-grade and unusual varieties continues to grow, which means values for the best coins can rise over time. So what should you look for when you check your own coins? First, examine the coin's condition. If it looks brand new with no wear, it could be uncirculated. Next, study the details under good light or magnification to see if there are any doubling on the lettering or design. Look for unusual edges, missing parts, or off-center strikes. And if you own a 1967 special mint set, definitely check the quarter for cameo or deep cameo contrast because those are where the real money lies. To summarize, the 1967 Washington quarter is a fascinating coin because it represents a turning point in American coinage. Most examples are only worth 25 cents, but the rare high-grade pieces, the special mint set coins, and the error varieties can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's market. It just goes to show that even a common-looking coin in your pocket change can hold hidden treasure if you know what to look for. The 1966 Washington quarter dollar is a fascinating coin that often gets overlooked, but collectors know that it holds an important place in American coin history. In order to understand why this coin can be valuable, we need to go back to the time period and learn about what was happening in the United States Mint and the economy. The Washington quarter design was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Originally, these coins were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, by the mid-1960s, silver prices were climbing, and the United States Mint decided to remove silver from the quarter. That decision is why the 1966 Washington quarter is such a unique issue. It was part of the early years of clad coinage, meaning that instead of being struck in silver, it was made with a copper-nickel composition layered over a pure copper core. This was a major change in American coinage history. The year 1966 was also unusual because of something known as the coin shortage crisis. In the early 1960s, people were hoarding coins for their silver content, and circulation coins were disappearing from everyday commerce. The mint responded by striking huge numbers of coins, but they also made the decision to stop producing proof sets and mint sets for collectors. Instead, they issued what was called a special mint set. The 1966 special mint set included a quarter that was not a proof but had a better finish than a regular circulation strike. Those special mint set coins are today sought after by collectors because of their higher quality strikes and their historical background. When we talk about the value of the 1966 Washington quarter, most circulated examples are only worth their face value of 25 cents because millions were struck and they are very common. However, the story changes when we look at coins in high mint state condition. Collectors are willing to pay strong premiums for coins that are graded mint state 65, mint state 66, or even higher. A 1966 quarter in superb condition with no marks and strong luster can bring in hundreds of dollars at auction. The special mint set versions are even more collectible. A coin from the 1966 special mint set graded at the highest levels can sell for several $100s, and in rare cases, even higher depending on eye appeal and the strength of the strike. Another important part of the story is errors and varieties. Some 1966 Washington quarters were struck with dramatic errors such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. These kinds of mint errors are extremely collectible and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the rarity and visual appeal of the mistake. Collectors and treasure hunters love searching old coins because one dramatic mint error can turn a common 25-cent piece into a coin worth big money. Today, in the current coin market, the 1966 Washington quarter continues to attract attention. Circulated examples remain common pocket change, but gem mint state coins certified by professional grading services can sell anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Exceptional examples or rare errors can go far beyond that. The special mint set quarters also remain highly collectible with strong prices in the marketplace. In summary, the 1966 Washington quarter is a coin that represents a major turning point in U.S. coinage history. It was the first generation of clad coins replacing silver. It came during a time of national coin shortages. It was issued in special mint sets instead of proof sets, and it has given collectors a wide range of opportunities from high-grade mint state examples to rare mint errors. If you happen to find one in your collection or even in your pocket change, it is worth taking a closer look because while most are worth face value, the best examples can indeed be worth a lot of money in today's market. The 1974 Washington quarter that could be worth big money. Cold open, stop what you're doing and grab your change jar because the humble George Washington quarter from 1974 can be a sleeper treasure. Most are everyday pocket change, but a small number brings serious cash when the condition is pristine or when wild mint errors show up. Today I will show you what to look for, how to spot the winners, and what the current market is paying right now. Chapter 1: Fast History and what makes the 1974 issue special. The Washington quarter switched to copper-nickel clad in the mid-1960s. So your 1974 quarter is a layered coin with copper at the core and a nickel alloy on the surface. It weighs about 5.67 grams and measures about 24.3 millimeters across with reeded edges. Design is by John Flanagan with George Washington on the front and the heraldic eagle on the back. No silver was struck for regular quarters in 1974. Silver proofs come later during the bicentennial years. Mintage was huge, which is why most examples are common. Philadelphia struck more than 801 million coins with no mint mark. Denver struck more than 353 million marked with the lettered. San Francisco struck just over 2.6 million proof coins marked with the letters. Those proofs were made for collectors and sold in set. Source details come from the PCGS Coinfax pages and mintage summaries and are consistent with the NGC and Wikipedia mintage tables for the year. Chapter 2 Where to find the mint mark and quick identifiers. Look under the wreath on the back of the coin just to the right of the ribbon tails. If the field is blank you have a Philadelphia coin. A small d means Denver. A small s means a proof that originally came from a mirror finish collector set. Proofs have sharp details and mirror fields. Business strikes from Philly and Denver have a matte circulation finish. Chapter 3 Current market value ranges. Right now these figures are typical retail guideposts and recent auction results in the United States coin market during 2025. Circulated coins from Philadelphia or Denver usually trade around face value up to about 85 cents when nicer guides at NGC show circulated ranges around 30 cents to 85 cents, which lines up with what you see at shows and online listings. Uncirculated coins change everything. A flashy mint state 65 example often brings roughly $10 to $25. High-grade pieces at mint state 67 from either mint can sell in the low hundreds, give or take. Heritage auctions and price trackers show results around $100 to $300 depending on appeal population and the grading service. For proofs from San Francisco, most certified deep cameo pieces in proof 69 bring about $15 to $30. The perfect grade proof 70 deep cameo is the top of the mountain, and those can sell in the low to mid-hundreds when they appear because the population is tiny compared to lower grades. These ranges reflect PCGS Coinfax entries. NGC price guide notes, gray sheet ranges and recent hammer prices compiled by market trackers. Chapter 4 What quarters bring the big money? This is where errors and freak strikes shine. Errors are not the norm, but when they hit they can be dramatic. Watch for the following off center strikes where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent shows the more off-center without losing the date. The better broad strikes that look stretched because the coin was struck without a retaining collar. Wrong planchet strikes, which means the quarter design landed on metal. Meant for another coin. Example, a strike on a nickel planchet which is lighter and smaller than a true quarter. Gray sheet and auction archives show confirmed wrong planchet quarters for this date. Double strikes where lettering or the portrait appears twice. Clips where a bite is missing from the rim, leaving a clean curved scoop. Missing clad layer which reveals a red or chocolate copper surface on one side. These pieces can run from a few $100s to much more based on how dramatic the error is, whether the date is visible and the certified grade. Stick to authenticated examples from major services when real money is involved. Chapter 5 How to check your coin step by step. 1 Start with the date 1974 and the mint mark area on the reverse at the lower right of the wreath. 2 Tilt the coin under a single light and judge the luster. Cartwheel shine without heavy marks points toward uncirculated. 3 Scan for bold mistakes. Is the coin obviously off center? Is the rim wide and flattened all the way around, which hints at a broad strike? Is the color wrong for a normal clad quarter, which might mean a missing clad layer? 4 Weigh the coin. If you con a normal quarter is close to 5.67 grams, a big deviation without damage suggests a wrong planchet or a missing layer. 5 If you believe you have a standout coin, consider certification by a top grading service such as PCGS or ENC. That is the route serious buyers prefer for high-end pieces and dramatic mint errors. Chapter 6 Quick price snapshots. You can quote to viewers common circulated 1974 quarters about face value up to around $1. Choice uncirculated mint state 65 often $10 to $25. Gem level mint state 67 when certified roughly $100 to $300 with eye appeal and population driving the spread. San Francisco proof in deep cameo at proof 69 commonly $15 to $30. San Francisco proof in the perfect 70 deep cameo often several $100. Dramatic authenticated mint errors from a few $100s to well above that depending on type and grade. These snapshots reflect the PCGS Coinfax entries and sales logs. The NGC price guide in gray. The 1982 D Washington quarter dollar is one of the most fascinating coins in modern U.S. history, and it continues to draw a lot of attention from collectors and treasure hunters alike. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint in 1982 and carries the D Mint mark just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Now, why is this coin so special? The year 1982 was a turning point for U.S. coinage. The Mint did not release traditional mint sets in 1982 or in 1983, which means collectors had a much harder time finding pristine uncirculated examples of these quarters. Many of them went straight into circulation and were heavily used, making high-grade examples extremely scarce. Most 1982 D quarters in circulation today are worn and only worth face value of 25 cents. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, or better yet in a certified high grade, then the value skyrockets. For example, coins graded Mint State 65 by professional grading companies can sell for around $25 to $40. In Mint State 66 the price can jump into the $150 to $200 range. And in Mint State 67 the coin becomes truly rare, with auction results reaching anywhere from $500 all the way past $1,000, but the real treasure is in error coins. The 1982 D quarter has some dramatic varieties and mint errors that can be worth a fortune. Look out for off-center strikes, double die obverse or reverse, coins struck on the wrong planchet, or missing clad layer quarters. Any of these unusual examples can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition, and I appeal point. One of the most famous examples is the 1982 D quarter struck on a copper planchet intended for a cent. Imagine a Washington quarter in full copper without the nickel coating. Such an error coin has sold for thousands of dollars at major auctions. When it comes to the current market value, collectors are paying strong premiums for gem examples because so few have survived in top condition. The coin market in 2025 is especially strong for early 1980s Washington quarters because more collectors are now specializing in modern coins and registry sets. That extra demand is pushing prices higher. So what should you do if you have a 1982 D quarter? First, check the coin's condition carefully. If it shows sharp details, no major scratches, and plenty of luster, you may have a valuable piece. Consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC to get an official grade. Next, check for unusual features or errors. Compare the lettering, the date, the mint mark, and the rim for any doubling, misalignment, or missing layers. Even circulated examples can sometimes surprise you if they have a rare error. And remember, values are always changing as the coin market evolves. A coin worth $200 today could sell for more in the future if demand keeps growing. The bottom line is this: the 1982 D Washington quarter is far more than just pocket change. For most people it is worth 25 cents, but for collectors who understand rarity and condition it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Always check your change carefully because you never know when a little copper and nickel coin could turn into a life-changing discovery. The 1987 D Washington quarter dollar is one of those coins that at first glance might not look particularly special. After all, hundreds of millions were minted at the Denver Mint that year, and for decades they circulated just like any other pocket change. But when we take a closer look at the history, condition, rarity, and collector demand, the 1987 D quarter reveals a fascinating story and in some cases a surprising amount of value. Let us begin with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. By 1987 the design had already been circulating for more than 50 years. On the front side, or obverse, we still see the portrait of Washington designed by John Flanagan. On the reverse, we see the heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching arrows and olive branches. This classic design was in use until the state quarters began in 1999. The 1987 D quarter sits in this long lineage of pre-state quarter issues. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint struck more than 650 million of these coins in 1987. With numbers that high, you might think none of them could possibly be valuable. And it is true that the overwhelming majority of 1987 D quarters are still worth only their face value of 25 cents if they are circulated and worn. You could check pocket change all day and most of what you find will not be worth more than a quarter. However, collectors and grading experts know that condition changes everything. A 1987 D quarter in high mint state, meaning uncirculated and free from wear, can fetch far more than face value. Coins graded at mint state 65 or higher begin to attract collector attention, and the price moves into several dollars. At mint state 67 or above, the scarcity increases dramatically. Only a tiny fraction of the coins struck ever survive in such pristine quality, often because they were saved straight from bank rolls or mint sets. The real money begins when we talk about the finest known examples. Some 1987 D Washington quarters graded mint state 68 have sold at auction for over $1,000. That is a huge leap from 25 cents to four figures. Why? Because collectors of Washington quarters compete for the best possible examples, and when only a handful exist at that lofty grade, the auction prices rise quickly. Another factor to consider is errors and varieties. Like any year, the 1987 D quarter had its share of minting mishaps. Off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the error. While not common, these error coins are always sought after by specialists. It pays to look closely at any unusual 1,987 quarters you might come across. Now let us look at the current market. As of today, a circulated 1987 D quarter remains worth 25 cents. An uncirculated mint state 65 example might sell for about $5 to $10. At mint state 67 the value rises into the $50 to $100 range. At mint state 68 the value can reach several $100s and sometimes even break $1,000 depending on the coin's eye appeal and the demand at auction. Error coins vary widely, but dramatic off-center strikes or double dies can sell for a few $100s or more. It is also important to remember that the coin market is always changing. Collector demand, silver prices for older coins, and population reports from grading services all play a role in current values. While the 1987 D quarter is not made of silver, it still participates in the broader collector market where high-grade and rare varieties are highly competitive. So what does this mean for you? If you have a handful of 1987 quarters from circulation, they are likely worth face value and fun to spend. But if you have mint sets, rolls, or coins that appear shiny and perfect, it might be worth submitting them to a grading service. A single top-grade example could turn out to be worth far more than you ever imagined. To wrap it up, the 1987 D Washington quarter dollar is a coin with a massive mintage and little value in circulation, but in the right condition or with the right error it transforms into a desirable collectible worth big money. It is another reminder that history and value often hide in plain sight, even in the change we carry every day. We are diving deep into one of the most interesting coins from modern American circulation, the 1989 D Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin might seem ordinary, just another pocket change quarter that passed through millions of hands in everyday transactions. But once you start looking closer, you discover that certain examples of the 1989 D quarter can actually be worth a surprising amount of money. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Over the decades, it became a cornerstone of American currency, with billions struck at the different United States mints. By 1989, the design by John Flanagan was still in use, featuring Washington's bust on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse. Now, the 1989 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, and the D mint mark is located just to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon on the front of the coin. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters in 1989, which means most of them are extremely common. You can find them in circulation today, and in worn condition they are usually only worth face value, just 25 cents, but here is where things get exciting. Collectors and investors are not only looking for average coins, they are searching for high-grade examples and rare mint errors. If you come across a 1989 D Washington quarter in uncirculated condition, meaning it still has all of its original luster and no wear from circulation, then the value can increase significantly. In the current coin market, most uncirculated 1989 D quarters are valued at $1 to $5. That might not sound like much, but the real money comes into play when you find coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services. A coin graded mint state 65 or higher can bring $10 to $20. Mint state 67 examples are scarce, and those can sell for several $100s at auction. The real treasure hunters are looking for the top of the grading scale. In Mint State 68, the 1989 D Washington quarter is incredibly rare. Only a handful have been certified at this level, and they have been known to sell for well over $1,000. In fact, one record sale pushed above $1,500 for a single coin that looked virtually flawless under magnification. But there is another factor that can make your 1989 D quarter worth big money, and that is mint errors. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and collectors prize these mistakes because they are unique and rare. Some known errors on 1989 D quarters include off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchet altogether. Depending on the type and severity of the error, these coins can sell anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s. Another detail worth mentioning is the condition of the strike. Not every 1989 D quarter was struck with equal strength, and coins with full sharp details and no weak areas are always more desirable. Collectors will also look closely at the luster and the overall eye appeal of the coin. So how can you find one of these valuable 1989 D Washington quarters? Start by checking your pocket change, your coin jars, and your old collections. Look carefully at the date and mint mark, and then study the condition. If the coin looks nearly perfect with no wear, you might have something special. It is always a good idea to compare it to online price guides and past auction records to get a sense of the current market value. If you believe your coin is truly high grade, then submitting it to a professional grading service could unlock its real potential. To sum it up, while most 1989 D Washington quarters are only worth face value, there are exceptions that bring big money. Common uncirculated pieces might sell for a few dollars, but high-grade certified examples can climb into the hundreds or even the thousands. Add in rare mint errors and you have the potential for an incredible payday. That is the fascinating story of the 1989 D Washington quarter dollar. A coin that seems ordinary, yet in the right condition can be worth much more than just 25 cents. Next time you go through your change, pay close attention, because you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. We are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of modern coin collecting and talk about one very specific coin that has been turning heads among collectors and treasure hunters. The 2021 P Washington quarter dollar. At first glance it may look like just another recent quarter in your pocket change, but the truth is, some of these coins can be worth a surprising amount of money depending on condition, rarity, and demand in the current market. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter was first introduced back in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades the design has gone through a number of changes, from the original Eagle reverse to the 50-state quarters program, then the America the Beautiful series, and most recently, the Washington Crossing the Delaware design, which came out in 2021. This particular coin, the one we are talking about today, was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and carries the familiar P Mint mark. Now why should you care about a modern coin like this? The reason is that coins produced in the first year of a design change often become more desirable over time. Collectors love first issues, and 2021 was the first year the Mint released the new Washington Crossing the Delaware reverse after the long-running America the Beautiful series ended. That alone adds some extra interest to the coin. When it comes to value, most 2021 P quarters you'll find in circulation are only worth their face value of 25 cents. But as we know in coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin in Mint State 65 or higher, with no wear and sharp details, can be worth a lot more than pocket change. In fact, certified high-grade examples graded by PCGS or NGC can sell for anywhere between $10 and $100, and sometimes even higher if the coin is nearly flawless. The very top population coins, graded Mint State 68 or Mint State 69, are incredibly hard to come by and can reach several $100s in the open market. Another major factor is error coins. Whenever the Mint produces millions of coins, mistakes do happen. Collectors have reported finding 2021 P quarters with die breaks, extra metal, struck through errors, and off-center strikes. Some of these error varieties can sell for $50, $100, or even several hundred depending on how dramatic the error is. If you find one of these in your change, you could be holding a little treasure in your hands. now let's talk about the current market. Right now demand for modern-era coins and high-grade quarters is stronger than ever. Many collectors are turning their attention to newer issues because the older classics have become so expensive. This shift in interest has driven up the value of certain modern coins like the 2021 P Washington Quarter. On popular auction sites you can see these coins selling anywhere from a couple of dollars for nice uncirculated examples, to several $100s for top-graded pieces and unique errors. The highest reported sales have reached into the thousands for extremely rare error coins that are one of a kind. So what should you do if you have one of these coins? First, check the condition carefully. If it looks brand new with no scratches or wear, it may be worth setting aside. Second, look closely for any unusual features like doubling, extra lines, or odd shapes in the design which may indicate an error. Third, if you believe you have a high-grade coin, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to have it certified. A coin in a graded holder is much easier to sell to serious collectors and often brings a much higher price. To sum it all up, the 2021 P Washington Quarter Dollar is more than just a common coin. It marks an important design change in U.S. coinage history, and while most examples are worth only 25 cents, certain coins in pristine condition or with rare mint errors can be worth a lot of money. Collectors today are paying strong premiums for the best examples, and the market is showing no signs of slowing down. So the next time you get change from the store, take a close look at those quarters. You never know when you might come across a valuable treasure. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed learning about the 2021 P Washington Quarter and its potential value, don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow collectors, and subscribe for more updates on coin values and hidden gems in your pocket change.